look at the charitable side of things, and it might be we've looked at this avenue a few times, haven't we, with different people, and it never quite gets off the ground, because the idea is we get enough money from charitable, let's say, content, for argument's sake, on the website, that we can then fund for those women that, victims of domestic violence. The breast care side, we wanted to go in there and say, look, we'll give you 50% off, and that means that, yes, because they're not earning, but the charitable arm would then cover that cost, so that we can get it out to more women, because then if you're not working, you're not earning, and your vagina's going to go right to the bottom of the pile. So, but we need to get in front of these breast care forums big time, don't we? Yes,
definitely. And we've got obviously the Macmillan and the places where I was before, and then I've got sort of another branch slightly more out than my sister, although it's not breast cancer, but she's got contacts through her own cancer and backup support down there. And my Kelly is about to start on her, she's waiting to do all the details, but she wants to do apprenticeship in nursing.
Okay.
So she said she's got a good route sort of through those doors as well. So hopefully, because the thing is, like I said before, I still can't get over, I mean, my life's been difficult, but I look at some of these women who have got everything that they want and whatever, but I've been given my life back. So these women that aren't working hard, who don't realise what's available, and then they look at these other clinics like I did, and I was like, £3,000, what if it doesn't work? Or, what if they just want my money? Because, after the cancer, my life completely stopped. So I know exactly where you're coming from. Yeah. By the same token, a business is a business, and the idea is to have... You've got to have money coming in. You've got to have clients.
But we've got a saying, and you used to hate it when I say it, is you chase the money, you chase the wrong thing. You chase the outcomes.
Yeah.
As long as you always do this, like I was saying to the nurses when we were just talking back there, is that when it comes to the laser, it's never the golden chalice. If you're doing that, because a lot of clinics they've got big overheads, they've got employees, so they've got a pension scheme, they've got business rates, they've got rent. The machines are £70,000 to £80,000, so they're then they've got to pay either a rental on that, or they've got to do so many treatments. Now, if a gynaecologist can get £500 for doing a small procedure in half an hour, it's not going to do what we do. It's not worth it. And are they going to want to supervise? A lot of doctors don't really want to supervise the nurses. They want them to be autonomous, and then the nurses think, well, I might as well do it myself. And all of these things add up. And our business model was so unique in the early days. And I think a lot of the people have tried to replicate it, and they've not, because they haven't got this. They haven't got this essence.
Yeah, the one that came across on that very first call, and that clinched it for me. And in fact, we'd already said, even though we didn't have a lot of money, like I said, I wasn't working, we'd even said, well, we'll find a way to fund it, because if it works and the doctor agrees it. And it was a big deal. And the thing is, like I said to you, and I absolutely mean it, I'll shout it from the rooftops, because it changed my life. And it doesn't matter, like you say, it's not about the money, but obviously it still is a business. But had I have still been working in Westminster, I would have paid for that in a heartbeat. If I'd have seen someone like me go through it and then see what the results were, I'd have been like, here we go, can you book me in tomorrow? 10 minutes is not soon enough. And I think that's the point. But I just felt, for the first time, completely understood. I didn't feel like I was being a nuisance. Nobody made me feel like, look, you're lucky you're here, just give it a rest, None of that. And so I've always said, and I mean it, you just tell me what you need, and I will do everything that I can.
Well, our consultations, I mean, you could sit outside the room sometimes, and then you'll hear his raucous laughter, so someone's having a bit of a giggle, getting back in the saddle, a new relationship. Or you've got the complete opposite where, and this is where the lone work you think could be a bit hard. You get somebody absolutely pour their heart out, and they didn't mean to do it. They just were in that environment. You're a bit more confident than some of the ladies we meet. And even then you get somebody come along and they'll say that the reason they're like this is a young lady's partner watches porn and it makes me feel sick and wonders why I can't enjoy what we're doing. And she said, I know why I get angry with him. We did the treatment. Just she was on the way out the door, she went, I've never been right since I was gang raped by those 4 lads when I was 15. And I thought, she walked out the door and I thought, what do I do with this? I thought, she's just gone. She was in good spirits. But I thought, like you said with PTSD, what have I just unleashed? And I remember ringing, the next lady came, she's like, we had sex and it was amazing. We've not done it for 5 years, and way. And you're like, okay, that's really, you have to adapt. And then on the way home, I just rang Ros in floods of tears. I said, I don't know what today was about. It was all a bit strange, and it's almost like we're on that same journey with you guys as well, is that we've learnt so much. It's out of all the jobs I've had in my career, which spans quite a while now, there's been nothing as humbling, because we've got the time.
Yeah.
And it's been an amazing, we've not finished this adventure yet. We've just not.
You know, the thing is, from my point of view as well, is that changing lives is the thing that makes the biggest difference. Because if you have something that's not quite right with you, and you keep pushing and pushing and pushing to try and make life better, but there's this thing inside of you that either keeps you down or keeps you two up. And when you see somebody come out the other side of it, I mean, I do think in some ways I've done well in moving forwards, and in other ways I sometimes think I haven't. But the one thing that I have learned is, okay, I'm lucky, I can do it, but I had all these things in place. I had Mike, who was fantastic, and I had the kids, and then you came along, and again, there was these huge big changes. And then COVID was a disaster for Mike's recovery, because we had no rehabilitation. But I just decided that I've wanted to do this forever. It keeps coming up on my feed, and you know what?
Do it.
It's time to do it now. But it's about, like you say, it's giving back. It's about knowing that when that door is closed and that person's gone home, their life has changed. And the world and people with mental health, as you know, I hate that word, and all the other stresses and strains of life, and the constraints and pressures from the social media and so forth, that you leave this thing behind, that's a little bit of healing, which changes people's lives. So even though the door is closed there and you might not see that person again, their life is richer for what you've done for them.
This is why we became nurses. But we're so entrenched in us that you care in a really non-caring way. And when you are brave enough to leave, and then you do something like this, you think, this is what it's about. It's worth it. It's great. It's a great journey. So in terms of you and your book, that's what we were going to talk about. So your book, so obviously you're on our website, you've done the blog that's on there, and you've done your course, and some bits that have brought you up to date. And then you've obviously sent it to me, and other people in the team haven't read it yet, so they've not got their box of tissues out. And you've sort of done an update, because you were going to write a book called, was it
Sex and the C
Sex
Word.
and the C Word.
Sitting in my computer.
Yeah. And obviously, things have got in the way of that, COVID particularly. And then you've sort of used this. So this is sort of an extension of your blog, isn't it? That you said you were going to send it to. Was it going to Amazon as a free?
Yeah. I mean, I just think that what I sent you is exactly what I was going to put up. I just don't know how to do it, and I have 5 minutes to spend with my son. So as I'm getting back on my feet, I'm trying to catch up with these things. But yes, I did want to put it on Amazon, because I just felt that, for me personally, sometimes I think I'll just have a free book. I'm not interested in anything to say. I'm not paying for a book that's going to be rubbish. But women do look for things about health. So I wanted to sort of offer some hope to people, but also show them that there is this amazing treatment, and there is this amazing journey that you can have too. So I wanted to instill hope. Didn't think it would be right to charge for a book, even 50p, although I did think originally about putting the money to charity, but again, not everybody can afford that. So I wanted to do that. But in terms of that book, even when it is up on Amazon, you can do what you like with it. So whoever you want to send it to, or do whatever. And I actually wanted to put that in proper writing for you, so that you had that, so that nobody else would ever be able to come back and say, you sure you discussed this? Because my journey was made with you, and my journey and my better life was only made possible through you. And so I now want to give that back to the next woman that comes along to see what's achievable.
Do you remember in the lockdown when we did the face-to-face things? Remember the bamboo sheet conversation?
Bamboo sheet.
There was a lady,
yes.
So it was really not, because it was almost like we've got our own little community of women that, you know, we're going to bring those back again. But what we've decided this time is we're going to record the person talking, and then there was some interesting conversations, let's put it that way. So we're going to put it as a Q&A, and then the bits that we needed to delete, because people want to be anonymous. Some people don't give a monkeys, do they? But we thought it'd be useful to sort of do that again and try and build on that community. And I think, as a standard, we should, anybody that's over 35 should be getting the book anyway, because the more it gets shared, the better. Maybe perhaps do a YouTube video of some sort. I don't know.
Yeah,
because it's our way
idea.
of getting. It's not like we're trying to sell you a book or we're trying to sell treatments. We're just trying to say, hey, there's people out there. Might not be us, and if it's not us, we can signpost. It might not be you. It might not be their consultant, it might be their partner, but just opening that dialogue in a more different way that other people perhaps aren't.
And I think it's like we've always said, people don't want to talk about these things. So if we can bring it out into the open and stop the embarrassment and the stigma, then we open doors for more treatments, more help. And if you feel better about yourself, it's like I said, I lost my sense of self. And I don't think I'd have coped with that disaster, because once you lose that sense of self, you spiral inwardly. So, I mean, I was lucky, but let's just feed it out there. And
well, this is it. I mean, even women that suffer with things like endometriosis, you know, that is a debilitating condition. You know, if you're got heavy periods or whatnot, then it stops you expressing yourself. It's no different. You know, I'm not saying anything's better or worse than other, but chronic conditions, you know, Crohn's disease stops you expressing yourself in a sexual and intimate kind of way. And I think the book will not just help breast cancer survivors, PTSD survivors, you know, people that are having to care for their partners, and, you know, people that lose the whole identity. It's looking at all of those. Women have no choice but to evolve.
yeah.
The world doesn't stay still under our feet, it does men. That's why they have slippers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great stuff. So we'll get loads planned, and we'll obviously... Thank you for coming for our network event as well.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And speaking.
Been lovely.
I think we recorded some of it, if not all of it, so that'll be good. And that can come in. We need to have some sort of kind of launch. We need to have a little party, I think.
Yeah, we should.
I think it should involve fizz.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Medicinal. Thank you, my darling. Thank you for coming and joining us. And thank you for being such a good friend.
Oh, you've been a good friend to me.
You're going to set me off now. Just set me off now.
Thank you. And thank you for everything you've done for me.